Well, Ricky, on last Sunday's show, we declared the 2026 season for the Cincinnati Reds to be DUN done. Now, let's talk draft.
Let's talk the future.
Let's go.
This is the Red Hot Reds podcast. Here are your hosts, Ricky Logan and Roger Straz.
Welcome to Red Hot Reds, a Cincinnati Reds podcast. This, Ricky, is our MLB Draft show, which is like the meshing of the Major League team with the minor league organization, because the Major League Baseball draft is a little bit different than most drafts. You don't draft guys that are going to be immediately put right onto the starting lineup for your Cincinnati Reds. They go into our organization and maybe work their way up 4, 5, 6 years, as your guy Austin Hendrick, drafted in 2020, is now just getting to AAA level, a step away from the majors. So, what are your feelings about the MLB draft and the Cincinnati Reds and their draft chances?
Yeah, well, I mean, the draft for the Reds recently has gone okay. I feel like Steele Hall's really proven himself in the ACL. We really hit on guys like Chase Burns and Rhett Lowder. Got really lucky in 2021 with Sal Stewart with the competitive balance pick. It's weird because the draft over the last, 3 years or so has really turned like college heavy for a lot of teams, and they're finding guys that are semi major league ready, like out the gates. So it'd be nice to get one of those guys, to find a guy like a Nick Kurtz or another Chase Burns, something like that, Rhett Lowder. But yeah, I mean, I feel pretty good about the draft. I don't necessarily like picking 18th, but we'll see what we get.
Yeah, 18th pick is not ideal, as we've had number 7 pick in Rhett Lowder, a number 2 pick in Chase Burns. I believe Hunter Green was also a number 2 pick overall. So we do pretty well, and it's becoming a little bit less hit and miss with the top 10 picks. They got to really do their research to figure out what they're going to do at 18. But yeah, that you referenced Nick Kurtz and Burns, Bazana, that and Charlie Condon. That 2024 draft might go down as one of the modern era 2020, 2000s, like one of the best drafts, at least in recent memory. Like a bunch of those guys are already all-stars. Burns getting his first all-star appearance this coming Tuesday. So check him out in Philadelphia. Hopefully he'll get at least an inning to shine and show what he's got, because he's certainly deserved it. It was 11 wins in his first full season. So I like the Reds' chances, obviously, with their first overall pick being 18. They should have some options that could be college pitchers, could be shortstops that are in high school that have high potential or whatnot. We're going to get into that obviously in a little bit, but the draft for Major League Baseball is quite different, because a lot of these guys, like you said, Steele Hall, we know Steele Hall. The common Cincinnati Reds fan may not be completely familiar that Steele Hall is about 3 years away from actually being a Cincinnati Red at the earliest, maybe 4 or 5, because he's only 18 years old, going on 19, I think, in about 7 days or so. So it's a unique draft, because a lot of these guys get kind of lost in the shuffle of the grind of Major League Baseball, or minor league baseball for that. And it's kind of difficult to kind of grade out how well your draft does. I was recently doing some research, and for some reason it popped into my algorithm a Locked On show where they interviewed a scout for the Cincinnati Reds. And I think his philosophy was something that was kind of unique that I really didn't consider, because we kind of really focus on like the first, at least the first round and then maybe the second round, because we got some nice picks of like Aaron Watson and Tyson Lewis in recent drafts that are pretty good players that we're excited about. But they say they really take a whole 10-round approach to it. And if you see that, you see like a Kian Vu, a 2025 9th-round pick. You see, what was it, Jacob Friend, a 2024 9th or 8th round pick. So like,
yeah,
I think they really start to do the research. They've got some gems that they've found over time. Mason Neville is a guy that fell in draft, 4th round pick for 2025, starting to figure it out with the development process. So I think really, even though we're going to be really top heavy with the first and maybe second or third round, at least with our focus as a Cincinnati Reds fan, the guys that we're going to see in the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th round, we really should probably take notice of as well, because those guys could be college hitters, like you said, college pitchers that are maybe a little bit more seasoned and may have a fast track. Like Kian Vu, just drafted a year ago, is in AA, and it could be a step away in AAA next year.
Yeah, I mean, fun fact, the Reds have never had a number 1 overall pick. I didn't know if anybody that's watching this knew that or not. I thought for sure they've had one sometime, but no, they've never had one. The Blue Jays, Cardinals, Dodgers, Giants, Red Sox, and Rockies have also never had a number 1 overall pick. But yeah, I mean, you look at some of the Reds picks that are in the later rounds over the last couple of years, like you said, with Kian Vu, Jacob Friend, Kyle McCoy was an 8th round pick. Carter Graham was an 8th round pick, and they both just won Player of the Month for June for the Midwest League and High A. So the Reds have done a really good job at really putting some focus on the later rounds, like how that scout had described. So that's good on them. I mean, we're seeing that the farm system is a little depleted at the moment. I think what Baseball America has us as the 25th ranked or farm system in Major League Baseball. I'd like to see that number go up with this draft. I think it will go up next year just based on some of the performances that we've had from some of the guys that are lower round picks in recent years, with Carter Graham ascending and Vu ascending and Alfredo Duno just being the monster that he is. It's a hard thing to do, drafting in any sport, and I think baseball is probably the hardest, just because you're developing the player to be major league ready, and they're not playing in the majors. And then 2, you're also teaching 18-year-old kids to be professionals, and it's hard. You're helping these kids grow up and become adults and also learn the profession that they're doing. So yeah, I mean, it's a lot that goes into the draft. And you see, not every number 1 overall pick works, and not every 10th round pick isn't good. So yeah, so I'm excited to talk about it. There's some guys that we're interested in, and we'll have the mock draft simulator here later on, and we'll run through some picks, and we might do a couple takes just to see where it goes, and talk about slot value and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. That is one thing that is also different with the Major League Baseball draft, is this idea of slot value. And just to go through that quickly, MLB slot value is the recommended monetary signing bonus assigned to every individual draft pick for the first 10 rounds. So it ends up being a situation where the Reds have a certain allotted amount of slot value. And I believe we talked about it before the show, a $10.8 million in slot value. And that's divvied up amongst all the 10 picks that they're going to presumably have. Obviously, the higher the pick or the higher the value of the player assigned is going to be, probably those players are going to be picked sooner in the draft. There could be situations where, let's say, the Reds or some other organization goes under value with their first pick or second pick, and then they could possibly go over the value with a player that is expected to have a higher signing bonus, and allows them to get maybe, say, for some reason, a lot of high school players have very high slot values, and that may be because it's based on the fact that they have yet to kind of show what their real full potential, their ceiling is, because they're so young that they're still growing. Like you said, they're still learning the game, but they have so many tools at such a young age that they could project to be the next Mike Trout, to be the next, Hunter Green.
Ken
You know what I
Griffey
mean? So
Jr. Yeah.
exactly. So those values may be not necessarily what ends up being that player's true value at the end of the day, but for the purpose of the draft, that's how they mitigate having someone just draft, I don't know, just completely just straight, high schoolers, shortstops that are just high value. They kind of have this slot value that is assigned to each organization at the start of the draft so that they can regulate how much they spend. Because if you spend too much at the beginning, you're going to get stuck, basically drafting some guys that are undervalued for the slot for the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th, 10th rounds. So hopefully that makes sense. It's not really easy because there's probably a lot. It's kind of like a salary capologist they have in the NBA and NFL. They to try to use the numbers to best find the best value at the best position for the best fit for their organization. There's probably in the Reds a bunch of analytics guys that do this capology type stuff, the slot value stuff that, and the website that Ricky was referencing was overslot.com, something that we were put on by Mr. Ethan Schmitz, fan of the show, will be hopefully tuning into this program. A really big MLB draft guy. Showed me this website. Guy got addicted, was doing it for hours and did a couple different, situations that could occur for the Reds that I guess, I don't know if you're ready to talk about overslot.com or we can go into the Reds philosophy. We can go either way at this point. Which way do you want to go, Ricky?
First, we could talk about who has the highest slot value and who has like the bottom end of the slot value. So the Pirates have the most slot value at 19.1 million, followed by Tampa Bay. And then they are followed by the San Francisco Giants. That's the top three. And then the bottom three are the Dodgers have 4 million. The Blue Jays have 5.5 million. The Mets have 6.7 million. And Boston has 8.2 million. But yeah, we can go into overslot if you want to.
There is one more thing that I just thought of that's unique to the Major League Draft. You're not allowed to trade picks. So whatever they do that, I think that in the All-Star week, they're going to do, I think, the next year draft lottery or what have you. So whatever the Reds get, and I've already gone into those websites. There's a website that gives, I think, the Reds like a 51% chance to get a top 6 pick. So we'll see how that works for next year. Also, you can't you can't trade your pick, and also the comp pick. Sometimes there's competitive balance picks if guys get signed off your team. Famously, Sal Stewart was a competitive balance pick for Nick Castellanos leaving the Reds. They couldn't sign him. So he was technically, the 32nd or 33rd pick?
32nd, I believe, yeah.
So there's those comp picks that happen as well at the end of the first rounds that I think the Reds have a competitive balance B. So they take an extra pick at the end of the second round, I believe, this year in 2026. So that's kind of also unique to Major League Baseball in a sense for anyone that's unfamiliar. Like I said, I think the Reds have the 18th, the 58th, and I want to say 62nd, 65th. It's somewhere along those lines for the competitive balance pick. And then they have kind of the regular picks after that for the subsequent rounds. So that's pretty unique to baseball. But I think there's comp picks in some other sports, maybe basketball or football. I can't remember exactly now. I'm not a big
The NFL has a supplemental draft. I don't think the NBA has anything like that.
It could be. It may be even
hockey might have something similar to that too, just because hockey has a minor league, so that could be similar. And maybe MLS with them having a second tier.
MLS might as well just get rid of their draft, in my opinion, because it's kind of ceremonial. But we can do that on a different podcast. But anyway, back to baseball. It's a pretty unique draft in that way. It's several different things, and Yeah, I mean, we benefited from the comp pick with Sal Stewart because we got Sal and Cam Collier in the first round of, what was that, 2023? I want to say
2021.
Okay, 2021. So yeah, shout out to those guys, and like Ricky had said, the Reds have been pretty decent at drafting the last couple years. It's a matter of developing some of those players, getting those guys through the right system, and getting them into the right positions and whatnot, which can't happen to any organization, right? Like that's kind of the whole difficult part of running a baseball organization, is that you can probably draft the best players, but there may be unforeseen, things that happen to the player. There may be injuries, all sorts of things can happen in the process from the time they're drafted to the time they end up showing up in a major league game. But we're going to get into all that, obviously, with different draft picks that we've had in the past and whatnot. But I think, Ricky, if you're ready, sorry to cut you off. I think you were going to talk about overslot.com.
Yeah. So overslot.com is basically a mock draft simulator. You kind of talked about it with you having your mock drafts. I think you sent me a couple of them. I haven't messed around with it yet other than us looking at it pre-show, but the Reds have 11 picks in this year's draft with the I think they have that competitive balance pick. But before we get into running our draft simulator, let's hear a word from our sponsor. I made the switch from traditional coffee to mud water because of all that caffeine was leaving me feeling anxious. Mud water has a fraction of the caffeine, plus organic ingredients and functional mushrooms like lion's mane, reishi, chaga, and cordyceps that support immune functionality. It became a healthier part of my morning routine, and I genuinely enjoy the rich flavor. If you want to give it a try, use our exclusive link, mudwater.com/allglovesoff, and you'll get 20% off your first order. Yeah, so let's get into this mock draft simulator here. So we have our picks here. So we'll start the draft. We're going to be the Cincinnati Reds in this draft, and they have Grady Emerson going number 1 overall to Chicago.
There is some weird
$9.5 million slot value.
Yeah, that's like all of the Chicago White Sox slot value, by the way, which is why I think I talked to you before the show, Ricky, that the AI on this is not top notch, because it had Emerson in some drafts not even being signed to any teams because his value is so high. And you mentioned Tampa Bay Rays having a lot of slot value. I think it's almost a guarantee that I'm going to mess up his name. Rhett Lowder from UCLA goes to the White Sox because they're in a win now mode, being a decent team. And I think the Rays draft Emerson because they have so much slot value. I'd be surprised if it's the other way around. But you know what? That's also another aspect of the draft that I forgot to bring up. I don't know if you remember, Ricky. We did a little bit of a draft show last year, not as in-depth, but we did a little bit. And I don't think anybody had Steele Hall on their draft predictions.
Yeah.
They had a bunch of other guys like, I can't even remember, like Ike Irish, Ava Arquette were like names that were thrown around, like college name guys. But they went shortstop prep, who I think it was end up being the right pick because of how I think he kind of fell down. But 9th overall, a kid that's got so much tools. We can get into that a little bit later about previous picks, but it was kind of weird that that might happen again. All these guys that we may talk about may be off the board at the point, or they just go for under slot value, over slot value, depending on what the Reds are feeling at that time. But yeah, it's kind of a unpredictable draft, to say the least.
Yeah, it is for sure. Very it's crazy how guys just kind of show up out of nowhere, and you can, find guys you don't really expect, and they end up being the right guy.
Yeah.
So on this mock draft simulator here, it has Gio Rojas available. He is the 13th ranked prospect in the draft. He's a $5.5 million slot value. And then that's out of best available. So if we were to go by ranked, we've got Gio Rojas, Logan Hughes out of Texas Tech, Daniel Jackson out of Georgia, Zion Rose out of Louisville, Trevor Condon at 21 ranked prospect available, Cole Carlin, Mason Edwards, Hunter Dietz, Liam Peterson. Liam Peterson, Hunter Dietz, Trevor Condon, and Gio Rojas have all been kind of linked to the Reds from recent Charlie Goldsmith post. I mean, obviously, draft's hard to kind of pick who you have, but if you go by best fit, number one pick for best fit is Gio Rojas, followed by Joey Velko, Hunter Dietz, Mason Edwards, Taylor Rabe, Tegan Coons, Cole Carlson. So do you want to go with the high slot value, or do you want to go with kind of a sort of positioned need in Logan Hughes or Trevor Condon? With Trevor Condon being the high school guy.
Yeah, my philosophy, at least, has been somewhat similar to the Reds in terms of they've drafted and developed pitchers. And to be honest with you, I would say the guy that, if he's available at that spot at 18, is Gio Rojas. I don't think he is. That seems really – this is what I'm talking about. The AI might be a little bit off. But Gio Rojas seems like the guy, because his scouting report is like he's a lefty out of high school and can throw 98 and is out of a pretty prominent high school out of Florida, Stoneman Douglas, that has produced major leaguers in the past. That's the guy I would get if he's available. I don't know if he will. He's supposed to be a top 10.
Yeah, I mean, like I think you said you've ran some mock drafts where the number one prospect for forgetting his name for whatever reason,
Brady Emerson.
Emerson, was not getting selected at all in the draft. So it is kind of difficult, but we're coming up on the Reds' second pick. Let's go a little bit more in the Rojas here.
Now, I want to say Rojas was over slot value for the Reds because I think they were only supposed to spend 4.5 or 4.7 in the first round. And what would Rojas end up costing?
5.5.
So they're a bit over slot value, which means that in subsequent picks, we're going to have to probably go under. So usually the college guys are a little bit more undervalued, which this is where we can get into, who's available here for us or best fit.
All right. So for us, we have unsignable is Tyler Spangler. He's not signable for our slot value or for the money we have.
Yeah.
Sean Duncan is at 2.8. Best fit would be Sean Duncan, left-handed pitcher out of Terry Fox Secondary. Brett Renfro, right-handed pitcher out of Virginia Tech. Jensen Hirschgorn, James Clark, shortstop. James Tronstein, outfield / shortstop out of Harvard Westlake. Caden Ferraro, Cooper Sides.
Is Barry Bonds' nephew Peyton Bonds available?
Let's see. He sure is.
That's where I would go because I have a personal philosophy that you should draft, even if they're just nephews or whatever. You know what I mean? Like,
he's got related. A family pedigree.
Exactly.
A uncle, a grandfather, and a godfather. Exactly. Or grandfather, whatever you'd call him.
Sure.
And Willie Mays. I mean, that family pedigree with him. And I mean, he looks great. Obviously, plays at Rutgers. 92nd overall prospect available in the draft. We could probably steal him in the third, maybe. But I say we go for him. We select Peyton Bonds with 58.
I say why not.
But yeah, I don't know if you saw the combine video of him hitting.
I did.
Good swing. I mean, he's kind of pull heavy, but he hits the ball hard, and you know it's what you what you want out of young guys is the ability to hit the ball hard, and obviously he's got the family pedigree, so I like the pick.
Yeah.
Now for this competitive balance pick, we are at pick 70. Slot value is $1.2 million.
Okay.
I'm looking at some of these guys here. So best available is you're looking at $2.8 million for Sean Duncan. Eli Hurst is at $1.6 million out of Seattle Academy, right-handed pitcher. Cooper Sides, right-handed pitcher out of Orange Lutheran. I kind of like this pick. I don't know why it's sticking out to me, but third base outfielder Colin Ritchie out of Oklahoma State. He's at $548,000 slot value. Then you're looking at Owen Kromowski, another guy under $1 million slot value out of Arizona. If we could find some Arizona State guys, I'd feel pretty good about that.
Yeah.
I'm not.
And going under value may mean that we could steal a guy in the next round that's above value.
So out of Arizona State, the best available is pick 170 at Nuo Contreras, second baseman out of Arizona State. Then Colin Linder, Sam Myers, Dominic Longo, and Alex Overbay. And then best fit, we have Eli Hurst, Sean Duncan, Cooper Sides, Colin Ritchie. I'm gonna look up this Colin Ritchie guy.
Okay. Yeah, and the thing that I think you brought up with the values of, like, he was Peyton Bonds, like the 82nd value overall prospect, but we picked him 58. You find that with this slot value stuff in Major League Baseball draft, guys get picked way ahead than maybe they were expected, or guys get picked way later based on the fact that some teams can't afford them because they've gone over the value for the first couple picks, and then you end up getting like a really highly touted, prospect, high school prospect that's got a high slot value, like in the second or third round. That's kind of the way they go. Like I said, the Reds' philosophy of late has kind of been like college pitcher who's undervalued in the first rounds, and then like Aaron Watson or Tyson Lewis in the second round, who probably is over slot value because they're high school prospects that probably are pretty valued at that time. So there's several different ways. Obviously, the Reds went the different way in 2025, getting Steele Hall at top 10 pick as a high school prospect, probably getting right about that slot value that he's worth. So I guess there's a lot of ways to cut a cake, and they usually go a certain way. I don't know exactly what they do this year. I think I've seen some articles out there of like, hey, we got to focus on outfield. And I'm like, okay, and not go the usual prospect, high school prospect, shortstop route or college pitcher route. So I don't know. I think the Reds are going to be the Reds and do probably what they think is right. But with this, the possibilities are kind of endless.
Yeah, so I have some information on Colin Ritchie. In 2025, he played 43 games, started 42, made 23 starts in center field, 14 in left, 3 in right, 2 at DH. He missed the first 10 games due to injury, but he had 10 multi-hit games, 12 multi-RBI games, reached base safely in his final 16 games of the season, ended the year on a 6-game hitting streak, also had a 19-game streak of reaching base. The third longest on the team for the season, was second leading hitter in the Big 12 at 283, also had 7 home runs, 19 RBIs in conference play. Had a 2-home run game in his first start of the season versus Winthrop, went 2 for 3 with 2 solo homers. Had a career high 3 hits that included a double and a homer along 3 RBIs versus Arizona State on May 16th of last year. Yeah, I mean, in high school, he was a 4-time letter winner at Atoka High School, hit .531 with 11 homers, 47 RBIs as a senior, 43 hits and 81 at-bats, named district MVP as well as all-district and all-state. Was also a great athlete, played football and basketball, and he was drafted by the Baltimore Orioles in the 19th round of 2023.
Mm.
So he might be a steal.
Yeah,
I mean,
like it.
137's kind of high, or
Yeah.
for picking at 70. So
Maybe we get
I'm
next
not
round.
sure.
The note out.
If we were to go by ranked guys, I'm trying to find some lower. So we got Roman Martin out of UCLA at 900,000 at pick 89. 901,000 slot value. North Carolina outfielder Owen Hull at 887, pick 90. So those could be two guys that could be a slot value deal. They would be about $300,000 under slot value that you could get potentially.
Yeah.
Evan Dempsey, $771,000 slot value. Right-handed pitcher out of Florida Gulf Coast. And Max Giel out of West Virginia and Ryan Lynch out of North Carolina, both pitchers. Max Giel being left-handed and Ryan Lynch being right-handed.
Let's see, we've gone
pitcher, outfielder. The Reds have to take a shortstop, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's what we're doing.
So I think the pick would most likely be in this situation Roman Martin out of UCLA. And pick 89, 89th prospect when you're picking 70, it's a pretty good pick.
Yeah.
So we go Roman Martin. Welcome to Cincinnati.
Yeah, and then the next one they got is 94th, so we'll see where we end up and what we got. Should have some decent slot value going under the last two, but we will see. Jackson, see, this is the thing. Jackson Willits here just got drafted like in the 3rd round. I had him in some drafts going 2nd round because he is over slot value in certain ways, and it's just I don't know. It's kind of crazy. Like I said, the simulator is nice to go through things, but like, yeah, I think one of my drafts, he went 2nd round and his slot value is 1.2 million. So there's like some, I don't know. We will see how it all plays out, I guess, on Saturday, which actually it's weird because Saturday's got like a weird television schedule. The first 10 picks are going to be on NBC, and the Reds won't be actually on NBC. They'll be on, I think, Peacock and MLB TV or MLB Network. So like we'll see, I guess, their pick later in the day on MLB Network. What we got here?
All right, so pick 94. A lot of the guys available we can't sign just because of slot value. They have outfielder Alex Weingarner out of St. Augustine Prep. He's at $2 million, so that's leaving us with like 1.1 million after this pick.
Yeah.
If we're looking at under slot value again, Ethan Kleinschmidt out of Oregon State. I have some numbers on him pulled up. He started 15 games in 2026, had a 9-2 record, 3.7 ERA, 3.74 ERA, struck out 97 and 77 innings, held batters to a 222 batting average, and finished the season with the 1.17 whip. He struck out 9 but not earned a decision against Washington State in the regional. Won his 9th game after going 5 full against Air Force. Struck out 6 and scattered 3 hits and 2 runs, 1 earned run. Let's see. I want to get some past seasons on him. So in 2025, he was the ABCA All-America 3rd team, All-Region 1st team. Had a 3.56 ERA in 2025 with a 194 batting average against. Left-handed pitcher, you can never have too many of those guys. I think they could probably go with another pitcher here. And looking at slot value for him, I kind of like the number at 500,000 for him. And he could be I don't want to compare him to Andrew Abbott, but he could be an Andrew Abbott like type, being that left-hander out of college. He went to John F. Kennedy High School, lettered for head coach Kevin Moffitt at John F. Kennedy, first team All-State MVP, league MVP in his senior year, state champion, player of the game, led his team to a 31-0 record. He went 16-0 with an 0.56 ERA, struck out 178 batters in 75 innings in high school.
Okay. Yeah, I like it.
0.86 batting average against in high school. He's let me see if I can get some. He's 6'3", 206 pounds. He's from Oregon. Played at Oregon State. I think that might be a good pick there.
I like that a lot.
All right, Ethan Kleinschmidt.
Nick Lodolo this trade.
Yeah.
All right, now on to the 122nd pick. All right, we're getting deep into this, Ricky. This is where it starts to get. I think this is hopefully where the Reds do their best work in these later rounds. Obviously, the guys are going to get the headline or the first and second, and maybe even third round picks, but we hopefully will start hearing about these guys getting in our system. I mean, probably Daytona is probably where these guys will end up if they're college age at least.
Yeah, so this is where Arizona State can play a factor here because Nuo Contreras is available, second baseman out of Arizona State. There's a two-way player available in Caden McDonald out of Florida, 202 ranked prospect at 307,000. If we go by best ranked prospect, 42 still available. Tyler Spangler, $4 million slot value. He's out of our range. But if we were to go by the best available that we can sign, which would basically max out our slot value, would be Logan Georges out of Clovis, I'm guessing high school.
Yeah.
Gunnar Skelton out of Columbia Academy. Shane Stowe out of Texas A&M. $486,000 slot value. I'll try to find some information on him really quick.
Yeah, and being under slot value is good because you can maybe get some steals later in the next couple rounds. I mean, at the very least, you're drafting guys that have 150K slot value in these last couple rounds. But yeah, if we can get a couple steals here and there, that could make this draft go from a good draft to a great draft.
All right, so I'm going to mess up his last name. I'm going to say it's Dow. I'm going to guess the S is silent. I don't know how they would do this, but 2026 preseason third team All-American for Baseball America. He was a 2024 USA Baseball Collegiate National Team invitee. He was a 2026 redshirt junior. He had a season-ending injury in 25, so he was his first year coming back from injury this past season in college. 13 starts, 17 games, 4-4 with a I'm not seeing his ERA. 7.03 ERA this season. 6'3", 185 pounds. I'm assuming it was probably Tommy John if it was a season injury or shoulder. Had 11 strikeouts versus Georgia this season. Struck out 10 in the season opener against Vanderbilt.
Oh.
So it's hard to tell what you're getting from him just based off the pure stats of it. I mean, you're kind of looking at more historical stuff from him, like more like high school and some early college stuff. So he struck out 5 against NKU in 2023 as a freshman. He went 4-1 with a 4.78 ERA. Struck out 46 and 43 1/3 innings. Recorded a 4 innings of relief against Cal State Fullerton with 4 strikeouts at the Stanford Regional his freshman season. Went 5-1, in his sophomore season with a 2.96 ERA. So he really improved in his sophomore season before the injury. So kind of going back pre-injury, you're looking at a 2.96 ERA, 1.05 WHIP, 2 saves, 55 strikeouts, 9 walks. Had a 7-inning shutout against Ole Miss on May 12th. Allowed just 3 hits and struck out 6. He could be a pick that would go if they go pitcher. We've got 2 pitchers, 2 position players. I'm kind of looking at Cade Lewis here too. He could be someone that could be a good pick out of Wake Forest, $429,000 slot value. He is a junior this year, 6'2", third baseman, 2024 Big East Freshman of the Year, 2024 Perfect Game Second Team Freshman All-American, 2024 Second Team All Big East. As a sophomore, he started in 60 games in 2025, named Second Team All ACC, selected as a Golden Spike semifinalist, led the team with a 376 batting average, 85 hits, 59 RBIs, 45 walks, all of which ranked second on the team. Also added in 29 extra base hits, 11 home runs, 17 multi-RBI games. He had 9 games with 3 or more RBIs, went 3 for 3 with 3 runs scored against Wake Forest in his Wake Forest debut when he played his sophomore season. Went 4 for 4 with 3 RBIs against North Carolina. He was a 2-year starter in high school, set records in batting average, slugging percentage, on base, runs, home runs, runs scored, total bases. 2-time all-conference selection, 2-time all-state honoree, team captain as a senior. That's kind of what you're looking for too. It's looking at guys who were captains on their teams. He was hit .505 as a senior with 10 doubles and 7 homers. Had 35 RBIs, 41 runs scored. His team went 20-7, 2 sectional championships. So I mean, he could be a pick to go after too. And then I think another guy I was looking at was there was a 2-way guy I was looking at on here.
Oh yeah, I think he was
there out of Florida, Caden McDonald. I kind of want to see some numbers on him.
Yeah, we've had some pretty recent success with some Wake Forest guys. I don't know if you know Ricky.
We've had some guys. Had a couple good ones out of there.
Don't mind that Wake Forest pick. And then, the leadership aspect. That's some intangible stuff that you don't necessarily can pick up at a combine. You know what I mean? So that's another plus mark for him. I don't mind that pick at all. But, yeah, go ahead with your 2-way guy.
Yeah, so Caden McDonald is a redshirt sophomore. He went to Sickles High School. He's from Tampa, Florida. 2026 Second Team All-American. 2026 Gainesville Regional All-Tournament Team. Won 2-way Player of the Week. Smart kid, first year all first year academic honor roll. Played in 41 games, started 21 games at designated hitter, made 20 relief appearances. He was considered one of the better 2-way players in college baseball this year. He slashed .319, .379, .702 with 18 extra base hits. And when he pitched, he was 5-1 with a save, 3.42 ERA, 0.95 WHIP, 222 batting average against, and 20 relief appearances. So he could be, I doubt that the Reds stick with the 2-way route for him, but I kind of like the hitting aspect for him too. But he's actually a pretty decent pitcher too. So, I'm assuming he played with Jack Caglione 2 years ago. So that could be somebody that, filled in his shoes. I'm not comparing him to Jack Caglione by any means, but first base, right-handed pitcher, DH, I wouldn't mind having a potential 2-way player just to see what it does. And at $307,000, that's not bad. I'm kind of torn between him and the other pick that I had, I forget who it was already.
So about Cade.
Cade Lewis, yeah. So Cade, I'm kind of torn between Cade Lewis and McDonald. So I'll give you this one.
I think I'd rather go with the college guy at this point, and then being valued 202, we may be able to see him at 154, the next pick.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
let's keep that up and a note out there. So I like the leadership aspect, and he's being a 4th round pick.
Cade Lewis,
yeah.
Welcome to Cincinnati.
Yeah. Now we'll wait until 154, which, it seems like a lot of picks can happen in between, but we'll see. Looks like our guy from Arizona State, Contreras,
Yeah.
got picked. Still no McDonald. He could still be there. And is he?
So, there's some other guys here too. There's a catcher, Bear Harrison, out of Texas A&M, is available. We have, just looking at Cade McDonald's available.
Yeah,
catcher Mason Winslow's available. Georgia Trey Phelps is available. Third base outfielder. I think I saw. Was he the guy that hit a home run, and he kind of got the other team kind of against him? I'll have to look into that more. But there was something that happened. It was a Georgia game. I can't remember if it was him or not. But
College World Series game or just in a regular season?
I think it was just a college game in general. But I'll have to look into that. But yeah, I mean.
Oh yeah. There's a headline here. Parents should be ashamed. Joke. Fans erupt after Georgia baseball's Trey Phillips gets ejected for celebration. So is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, I think that's what it was. Yeah, I think it's a little overblown, but people also said that Chase Burns was a little too energetic too to be a professional, and he's doing just fine.
But, I think so. Yeah.
Caden McDonald, I kind of like the pick. $307,000 slot value.
Yeah.
Can never have too many pitchers, and he can play both. So I think that's where we go on that one. 307,000. That's not bad at all.
For sure.
Welcome to Cincinnati, Caden McDonald.
I got 5 more rounds here. This is where we're starting to get real thick in the weeds and figure out where these guys are at. Trey Phillips just got picked, or Phelps, sorry.
Chicago White Sox.
Bear Harrison, White Sox, great. Bear Harrison, they got picked too. Yeah, this is where you got to be a real, MLB or college baseball and draft sicko to figure out, because I do not recognize any of these guys. I'm not gonna act like I'm an expert on a 7th round pick or 8. Were we on 6th round pick? Oof. We're deep in it right now.
All right, so we have Tennessee pitcher Brandon Arvidsson, Brody Purcell out of Florida State, $238,000. Outfielder Jake Long from Utah is available. Let's see, Connor Mashburn out of UNC Wilmington. Xavier guy Ryan Peach.
Oh yeah, that'd be great to see that coming home.
Yeah, wasn't there a kid from, I think, is it Moeller or St. X that's in the draft this year?
Potnowski, I think his name. Yeah. He's going to go high. I don't know exactly where he's going to get. Yeah, he's a Moeller kid, I think. Matt Potnowski.
I'm going to see where he got picked, because I'm assuming he got picked here already.
Or I don't know how to say his name. Ponatsky, something like that. He's supposedly going to go to UK if he does not get drafted or get drafted in the spot. I guess that's the thing that could happen with some of these high value, high slot value high schoolers, is that they may just play college ball instead of get drafted. And that's also another aspect of the MLB draft that maybe is a little bit different than other drafts is like an NFL. You get drafted in NFL, that's the dream. You're going to go play for that team. Sometimes if we into this like low of the rounds, you have to convince the guy possibly to be like, yes, come into our organization. We're not drafting you as high maybe as you'd like, but then they may have the option of a draft and follow. There's a guy that just made a debut in the ACL, Owen Pote, for the Cincinnati Reds, a Canadian kid, I think I want to say, that is 6'8", Ricky, 6'8", right-handed pitcher for your ACL Reds. I think he got drafted in like the 19th round of the 2024 draft, and they draft and followed him. So I think he played college for a couple of years and stayed with, the Reds, and now is making his debut. Is he drafted or is he?
He is over slot. He's ranked as the 130th best prospect on here. He would be over our slot value, so we couldn't draft him.
So
but he is still available.
Welcome to Lexington, basically, I think.
Yeah.
I bet he's over slot value for a lot of guys at this point, which, again, that's what happened with the AAI a couple times, is that it's like Grady Emerson is so over slot value by the second round. Nobody can pick him. So now he's, I guess, stuck in no man's land, according to this. But I don't know. It'd be very interesting if Panowski, I don't know how to say his name, Ponatoski. But yeah, that'd be very interesting if he ends up going to UK and playing there instead of being drafted by anybody in Major League Baseball. But
so Jake Long out of Utah, 238th ranked prospect, all Big 12, second team this year, started all 51 games, 49 games in left field, 2 at DH, was considered one of the best improved players from the 2025 season, showing upside in batting average. He went from 263 to 374, and his slugging went up from 329 to 626. He had 16 doubles, 11 home runs, and 58 RBIs. And he was primarily a two-hole hitter. And he was the team leader in slugging, hits, batting average, RBI, home runs, second in run scored, second in doubles, first in total bases, and tied for third in walks.
Okay.
So, and he played even better in league play. He hit 308 with 49 hits, and he had 11 doubles in league play. Had a 21-game hitting streak from February 22nd through March 31st, the longest at Utah since 2011. He hit for the cycle on March 29th, becoming just the third player in Utah history and the first since 2005. He's a kind of a bigger kid. He's 6'3", 225. He's out of Whittier, California. Like I said, he played college ball at Oregon, or not Oregon, Utah. Bats left, throws right-handed. Looks like a decent outfielder. Could be a good pick to take. We got Bo Bryans out of Jacksonville State at 222,000 at 249th ranked prospect. Tanner Marsh out of Liberty, shortstop, 214,000 slot value. Trevor Hansen out of UC Irvine, right-handed pitcher, 221,000. Jaron Purify out of Clemson. Yeah. There it is. 252 ranked prospect, 220,000. Cole Stokes, right-handed pitcher out of Florida State, 211,000. Brody Purcell still available there, 233. Declan Dahl out of Louisiana Tech. LJ Mercurius out of Oklahoma. If I remember, Mercurius had a pretty good outing in a game. I think made highlights, but I'm not 100% sure. I'll have to double check on that. Ryan Peach still available out of Xavier.
We might be able to get him at the 10th pick.
10th round. I don't know. I'm kind of liking this Jake Long guy. He's kind of sticking out to me.
Yeah, I like it.
Jake Long, welcome to Cincinnati.
Yeah. And now we get 212th pick. We're getting into. Oh, that's a Peach got
drafted by the Phillies. Oh,
ouch. Purify as well. Yeah, this is really saying it could go so many different ways for this draft. Who knows how it actually is going to come out? We're going to be pretty surprised, I think, at the Reds pick, to say the least. Like, Steele Hall came out of nowhere. I wouldn't be surprised if the Reds pick somebody that we haven't necessarily even thought of.
All right. So for this pick, we have Eric Polson out of North Carolina, first baseman, 200,000. We've got Grant Govil out of Southern California. We've got shortstop Ryan Kucherek, shortstop out of Northwestern. Zane Adams, left-handed pitcher out of Alabama. We've got Hunter Puzzle out of Florida Gulf Coast. John Abraham, Florida State, 205,000. Michael Adari, Illinois State, 203,000. If we were to go by ranked prospects, Tyler Spangler still available. Sean Duncan still available. Cole Prosek still available. Logan Schmidt still available.
That's great.
James Clark still available. All these guys are 2.5 million slot value. Aiden Ruiz, shortstop out of Stony Brook School, still available, 2.5 million.
Weird.
There was this guy, for the life of me, I cannot remember his name, but the Reds drafted him with like one of their last picks last year, out of high school, and he ended up going to Tennessee. But I think the way the Reds had themselves positioned was to be able to offer him more at that pick because of his upside, and he ended up not signing. He went to Tennessee, but he could be a guy to look out in the next couple of years. But it's hard to do this because of the slot value aspect of Major League Baseball, and their draft is just so different than every other sport.
Yeah, for sure. It ends up complicated, or it ends up kind of being quite different animal than most situation.
Yeah, so I think they go pitcher here, but out of pitchers available, we have Grant Govil out of, I'm guessing, USC, Zane Adams out of Alabama, and John Abraham out of Florida State, Michael Adari out of Illinois State would be our pitchers.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'll let you get this one because this is beyond my knowledge.
Well, let's look up this Alabama guy. Where'd he go? Zane Adams. So Zane Adams played for Alabama. As soon as my website loads here. He's 6'4", left-handed pitcher from Porter, Texas. He was SEC Spring Academic Honor Roll preseason, second team All SEC. Made the freshman All SEC team in 2024. SEC Pitcher of the Week, April 15th. In 2026, he was the Saturday starter for Alabama. He pitched 6 innings, allowed just 8 singles against Vanderbilt and that was his 5th win of the season. Versus Texas, he went 6 scoreless innings with 7 strikeouts, had a quality start against then number 22 ranked Arkansas. 6 innings pitched. Seems like a workhorse to me. Winning pitcher against that doesn't show the team. It just says winning pitcher March 7th. 5 innings, 4 strikeouts. Let's go to high school stuff. I want to see what he did back in the day. He was the top rated left-handed pitcher and number 6 overall prospect in Texas out of high school. Was listed as a second-round left-hander and a number 6 recruit in Texas by Prep Baseball Report. Number 11 nationally rated left-handed pitcher coming out of high school, 63rd by any position. So a very highly rated guy coming out of high school. Could be a good pick.
Okay.
I think I'm going to go with him.
Yeah.
And at $199,000, you're looking at under $200,000. You could probably talk him under that too, just to sign him. But for pick 212, he's prospect 291. That seems like a pretty good pick to me. I think they go with the pitcher here too.
Yeah. Was the guy that you were talking about, you said last year, drafted but didn't sign? Was his name Miles Upchurch? Because they got a guy here drafted in the 19th round, but it ends up being that unless he's a draft and follow guy, he was pitching for Alabama last year.
No. Let me, if I'm going to find it.
But now our next pick is 242. Getting down.
Ethan Moore.
Ethan Moore. Okay. Yeah. They listed him in the 18th round pick, shortstop out of. Oh, I see. Yeah. So he didn't end up signing. So he's probably going to be eligible for what, 2 years from now?
2028. Yeah, 2028 draft.
Yeah. So he won't be probably drafted again until then. Out of River Forest, Illinois. I know where that is. That's a nice area. Nice area in Chicagoland.
All right. So pick 242. We still have 1.5 million available, so we could go higher on this if we need to. We have guys like we can go catcher, Tegan Scott out of South Salem. We could go Andrew Gonzalez out of Americas at third base, outfielder at $1 million. We can go catcher Mickey Gilligan out of Posiac Tech. If we go by best available, I don't know why it's not working. Best fit has Andrew Gonzalez as the best pick available at $1 million.
Slot value to go over, possibly. I haven't gone over since the first round, so I don't know.
So we could go over on this one.
Why not?
We could also, he would be the highest ranked prospect. He would be one prospect lower than our pick. So he's 241 ranked. We're picking 242.
Nice.
I like the pick. We're going to go over on this one. Andrew Gonzalez. Welcome to Cincinnati.
There you go. For sure.
We have 2 picks left. We have a $206,000 slot value at 272 and 195 at 302.
Okay.
I'm liking this draft so far.
Yeah, it could go all sorts of different ways. It has to be one of the more unpredictable drafts. I
feel like we have to go catcher at some point.
They like their catchers, although they get.
We've got a lot of catchers in the farm system that are really good and young. Yeah,
international free agent catchers are just straight off the free agency pool kind of catchers, but can't hurt to use one downer. What is it? It's 9th round.
Yes, I believe. Yeah, 9th round. So I'm not seeing any catchers available. Let me just search catcher. So the only catcher available is his name is Catcher.
That's quite aptly named. Catcher,
right? Catcher Hopkins.
Wow.
So as far as these are the only guys left available is Brett Landman out of Abilene Christian, Nate Eisler out of Dartmouth, Colton Costas out of Louisiana Tech, TJ Totcotts, Bowling Green, and Lucas Steele out of Auburn.
Okay.
I say we go catcher and just take Lucas Steele.
Yeah.
Although he could be available at the last pick, but I don't know.
Yeah. No, I don't know. Up to you.
There's a shortstop available.
Well, okay. I always like those shortstops.
All right, pick a number between 1 and 5.
5.
Lucas Steele, welcome to Cincinnati.
You know, someone might steal him. Lucas Steele.
I could.
Well, 10th round picks. This is where I hope this is where the Reds do more research than you and myself, because
yeah.
if they're just kind of picking at 1 through 5 and just flipping a coin, then we're in more trouble than we think we are.
All right. So we got some guys here. We got right-handed pitcher Jackson Lowder out of Mississippi State. Shortstop Tim Sime out of Southern Illinois. We got J.P. Robertson, right-handed pitcher out of Ole Miss. We've got first base outfielder Eason Surlewit out of Florida. We've got Sam Myers, Arizona State outfielder. Brandon Holcomb, Vanderbilt, third base outfielder. Catcher Campbell Smithwick out of Oklahoma State. Colin Clark out of Oregon. Drew Talavas out of San Diego State. Luke Ekdahl out of Blinn College. Fabio Bundy out of Monterey Peninsula. Jack Bell out of TCU, shortstop. Right-handed pitcher Alec Bouchard. Pitcher, first baseman Luke Pettit out of Dallas Baptist. Justin Lee, pitcher out of UCLA. Tanner Malley, Western Kentucky outfielder. Chris McHugh, first baseman, NC State. Thomas Crabtree, right-handed pitcher out of Southern Miss. Cole Triba out of UC Santa Clara. NC State, right-handed pitcher Heath Andrews. Right-handed pitcher Kenji Polares out of Loyola Marymount. Let's see, we have 337,000 left, so we could go that high if there's one available. Easton Winfield, outfielder out of Houston. Max Jensen, first baseman out of Vanderbilt. Jackson Shineflew out of South Alabama. Cade Bing out of Texas. Nate Gray out of BYU. It's tough.
Good question. Now, what was the first guy you mentioned? I think that was probably B or
so first guy,
Jackson Lowder. I drafted
Jackson Lowder out of Mississippi State. It's a good school to pitch out of too. So I kind of like that pick too. Right-handed pitcher. I'll pull up some numbers on him.
I believe the Cowboy is from Mississippi State and got inducted into their Hall of Fame for Mississippi State, if I'm not mistaken.
You are correct.
I think they would love to see another one of their alumni come and play for the Cincinnati Reds, All
right. Jackson Lowder, right-handed pitcher out of Mississippi State. He is from Medford, New Jersey. He, in 2025, as a sophomore at James Madison, went 4-5 with a 3.53 ERA, 72 strikeouts, 41 walks, and 74 innings. 197 batting average against. He had a 9 strikeout game versus Canisius. He had 6 strikeouts against Charlotte, and in high school, he was first team All-South Jersey, first team All-Conference his senior year. Was named to the Carpenter Cup team, played for the North versus South All-Star game his senior year, was the 5th best right-handed pitcher, and then 11th overall prospect out of New Jersey. Good pedigree. It says his personal hobbies enjoys cooking and golf, so he would fit right in with a lot of guys on our team. Granted, that's a baseball thing, but yeah. I mean, I kind of like him. I kind of like the school too. So we'll go with Jackson Logar with our final pick of the draft.
There we go. We'll put that out on our socials, and you can criticize us, comment, all that good stuff. Tell us what you would have done instead. I don't know. Gio Reynas or Gio Rijos, or I forget, was it Gio Rojas? If he's that, if he's going to be that far down, if he makes it 18, there's no way the Reds can't turn on or not, pick him. Obviously, he's going to be over slot value, but still, I don't know. I can't see him going down that far. A bunch of the other guys obviously can be many different ways in who's available at that time, the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th round. But I think it's pretty solid going with the philosophy of basically college pitchers, prospects that are high schoolers and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, we also went against type. We picked an outfielder and Peyton Bond's pretty high up. So I was one of the pieces I saw. One of the pieces I saw there is that the Reds outfield needs help. I know we got a guy named Clay Snowden that is not very high on the outfield depth of our organization. But, maybe we draft some guys that are college age and they can come through for us. Those are the guys that we could pick in those 10 rounds. Ricky, what are you thinking, at least in the first round? Who should we pick? Who should we be going after?
That's a good question. Obviously, I think if Gio Rojas is available, you kind of go over slot value and try to take him. But I've seen Trevor Condon linked to them. I think that would be a good pick. I don't think you could go wrong with either one of those guys. Kind of going by some of the guys that got picked kind of early. You've got shortstop Justin LeBron out of Alabama, who has been linked to possibly falling in the draft. He was seen as a potential number 1 overall pick this year, and he has kind of fallen down. He does kind of chase a lot, but we've seen the Reds kind of work on that with some guys in the organization, like Mason Neville going back down to the ACL after coming up to single A, low A last year. So, you never know what you get. I know that they weren't too keen on Steele Hall's hitting ability coming out of the draft. I think that they kind of expected that to be like a 2-year plan for him. And he came out of the gate strong. And what's weird about the Reds, though, is that they don't typically start their number 1 overall pick in low A. They typically start him in the ACL, like we saw with Steele Hall. Yeah. Steele Hall was the only first-round draft pick, I believe, if it wasn't just out of high school, but it was any first-round pick, and I can't remember if it was top 10 or if it was just first round in general, but the Reds were the only pick that started their season in the ACL. So the Reds kind of have a tendency to kind of go slow with their development on their picks. I mean, other than, you go back to Austin Hendrick, who debuted in low A, but that was also a COVID year, and the minor leagues kind of got reshuffled that year. So I think they kind of rushed him a bit. But yeah, I mean, if Gio Rojas is available, I mean, left-handed pitcher, I think you go with that pick. And if not, if Trevor Condon is available, you pick him.
Yeah. Speaking of Condon, he's related to Charlie Condon, a guy that Ricky famously would have loved to have in 2024 and has profusely apologized about wanting Condon or Bazana over Mr. Chase Burns. And that was another surprise pick. Everyone in Cincinnati, me included, thought it was either Travis Bazana or Charlie Condon because we had the second overall pick. Whatever Cleveland did ahead of us, the number 1 pick, we would get the other guy, right? Basically, that was the narrative. Nope. The Reds went in a different direction, got a guy that now is going to be playing in his first All-Star game. So the Reds know maybe a little bit more than us, at least the last couple of years with some of their picks. So shout out to them. Who could they pick? Yes, I would love to see a Trevor Condon pick for the Reds, especially if he goes all the way down to 18. I think there's rumors that he could be a top 15 pick. We will see. Liam Peterson is kind of in that same category. Right-handed pitcher, I believe, Florida. A guy that I really like drafting college pitchers. If they think they've got the stuff that could translate to the majors, with a accelerated pace, like how Lowder got accelerated, like how Chase Burns got accelerated. I'm all for that because you can't have enough good pitching. The Reds desperately need to have good pitching because they can't get free agents in Great American Small Park. And then the other one that's off the board is Mason Edwards, left-handed pitcher at USC. I think it was the Big Ten Player of the Year or what have you. That's a guy that I would like to see. Left-handed pitcher. We talk about it on the Sunday show. Probably Nick Lodolo is probably gone. Probably a Brady Singer is probably gone. So if you get a college-age pitcher that could be maybe up here by 2027, maybe 2028 at the latest, I'm all for that as well with the first round draft.
Yeah, I like that. I just screen grabbed our draft. We'll post it on socials. But
nice. So
kinda
with all that said, who will the Reds pick ultimately? As a Red, put your Nick Kroll hat on. Put your Brad Meador hat on.
Let me look at my clown mask. Hang on.
Yeah. Who will they pick, do you think? And obviously that's a very open-ended question. You go so many different directions. They may, who knows? They could go high school shortstop. They could go polished pitcher out of college. Who knows? Where do you think they will go?
Well, let me pull up a mock draft here. So MLB.com, Mark Sheldon. He has, I don't think he has a mock draft, but
no, he was talking about, I think in his most recent piece, if I'm remembering, talking about previous drafts and the philosophy and what have you and things of that nature. But like most of the people that I've been seeing picks, MLB Pipeline thinks the Reds will probably get Trevor Condon. ESPN went kind of off the board, a guy that I wasn't too familiar with, Cade Townsend, pitcher out of Mississippi. Trevor Condon again, I think the Chatterbox guys had predicted. USA Today said Liam Peterson. D1 Baseball likes your Justin LeBron possibility with him dropping down in the draft. But yeah, you're right about swing rate or K rate might be an issue, but they work with Kyle Henley on that. They work with Mason Neville on that. So there may be some sort of issue. There may be some possibility there too. And then Hunter Dietz was a guy, another one that a left-handed pitcher out of Arkansas was another option out there.
yeah. So CBS Sports, they have the Reds selecting outfielder / left-handed pitcher Jared Greinlinger out of Huntington Beach High School in California. They had so let's see, when was this posted? This was just posted 11 hours ago. So they have Jared Greinlinger out of Huntington Beach High School, two-way player, small chance to do both at the next level. They say he's a fascinating player. He's been connected to a bunch of teams in the middle of the first round. Somewhere to be selected in this range, if not the Reds, will be selected within a few picks. So he could be between like 14 and 20 is what he's available. So I'm going to pull up him real quick.
And I feel like I've seen that name, but that is the first time I've seen it linked with the Reds. And that could very well be. Like I said, no one in the mock drafts that I saw in 2025 that Steele Hall was a distinct possibility. That was something off the board that the Reds probably – they weren't obviously they're not going to listen to the media and whatnot for their decision matrix, but it's still a possibility that they could go way off the board and get a guy that you said two-way player, pitcher and an outfielder. You said so. That'd be interesting.
So they have him with a 94 mile per hour fastball already in high school. 7.7 second 60-yard dash. Exit velocity 86 mile per hour average. Let me pull up some more, like trying to find some like stats on him.
And where is he out of?
Huntington Beach, California. So general Los Angeles area of California.
Yeah. I can see that. I again, not a guy
according
that's been
to
talked about a lot.
Okay. Sorry. The Athletic has him as the 12th ranked prospect. Baseball America has him in the 18th. ESPN has him as 11th. MLB Pipeline 18th. Perfect Game 16th. He's one of the youngest players in the draft. He reclassified. He would have been in 2027. Doesn't turn 18 until well after the draft. Left-handed hitter, left-handed pitcher. 6'3", 185. Still has room to grow into his frame. They see him having significantly more power and strength, and they say that teams might bet on his long-term upside.
Yeah, he's a Tennessee commit. Yeah, you're right. It doesn't turn 18 until April of next year. Until
Keith Law has him as most likely a bat over a pitcher, but as a hitter, he says he praises his outstanding bat-to-ball skills, while noting that his bat speed still has room to improve. The ball carries well off of his bat. He still, as he adds strength, scouts expect considerably more power.
Yeah, I could very well see this. It's not being talked about a lot. He obviously is highly ranked, so you have to grab him, I guess, if he's available, just like a Gio Rojas. But
And then,
I don't know.
As a pitcher, he's touched 96, generally sits between 90 and 94. I guess he's 17. That's really good for a 17-year-old. He's got, they say, promising off-speed pitches with a slider that hovers around 80 that he can manipulate into different shapes, and a low 80s changeup with excellent arm speed. MLB Pipeline notes that some scouts believe his loose arm action could potentially produce a plus fastball as he matures. So they're saying he could very well project into the upper 90s with his fastball.
Okay.
But he is committed to Tennessee, so it'd be one of those things that they'll probably have to significantly overpay. But, I mean, if we overpaid for Gio Rojas and he's not available and Condon's not available, I mean, that could be a really good pick. And I wish we would have talked about this while we were going through the draft.
Well, to be honest with you, it wasn't a guy that was on my radar in terms of what I've seen through the mock drafts, what I've seen what people are talking about. So this could be that out of left field pick that we didn't expect. It's maybe
our draft had him going 6th to Kansas City at $5.8 million.
There's probably a distinct possibility that is happening. But again, much like we talk about, if they drop because maybe other organizations go a different direction, we could be seeing him in Cincinnati. And again, another out of left field pick that could happen in the MLB draft. It's very unpredictable. I'd like to probably check and look at like what Keith Law or MLB Pipeline had as their 2025 mock draft and see if they had anybody close to any of the picks other than maybe the number 1 overall pick being kind of unanimous. But yeah, I don't know. It's very interesting science, to say the least. And the science is complicated because a lot of these players aren't ready to go in Major League Baseball from day one. They are years away sometimes, maybe months away if you can fast track some guys, like the couple that we've mentioned already on the show a bunch of times, Chase Burns and Rhett Lowder. But it could be a Hunter Green situation where he's drafted in 2017 and made his Major League debut in 2022, 2021. So, yeah, sometimes 5 years, sometimes 6 years. Baseball is a hard sport.
Keith Law was way off on his mock draft.
Dude,
He had Ike Irish going 2 overall to the Angels.
And he went 19.
He had Ethan Holiday going to Colorado, which was right. Ethan Willits going to St. Louis. Seth Hernandez going to Pittsburgh. Billy Carlson going to Miami. JoJo Parker going to the Blue Jays. They had the Reds selecting, is it Jamie Arnold or Jaime Arnold?
Oh, that would have been nice. Yeah, Jamie Arnold, out of, where is he?
Florida State.
Florida State. Yeah, he was the guy that could have been up there for number 1 pick, I believe, at one point in the draft. But then
he had Steele Hall going to Texas at 12.
Okay. All right.
It wasn't too bad.
A little bit. But yeah, that was the thing. It's if anybody gets half the first round pick right, I would I would be following that guy, whoever that may be.
Yeah. Hey, who knows? Could be ours.
You know what, Ricky? I'm not kidding. That the Grindlinger, that could be the guy. I don't know.
Be.
But I don't know. You got anything else on this MLB draft special? Got any pieces coming out on and whatnot? I think we're going to try to do a little bit of a reaction video after the first couple picks, give a little bit of breakdown, whatnot, Saturday night, if not Sunday, on our normal Sunday show. I think we're also planning on doing some All-Star break grades, which may not be pretty for this Cincinnati Red Sox team, other than maybe shortstop and
First
maybe
base,
maybe
starting pitcher.
Yeah.
One starting pitcher, maybe two.
Yeah. So yeah. Anything else before we sign this off?
No. I guess outside of that, happy anniversary to drafting Austin Hendrick.
Oh yeah, 6 years ago. Wow. Or is it 6? Yeah, 2020.
Yeah, 2020.
That's crazy. Hey, he's one step away. It's funny you bring him up. Carrick sent me him making that nice catch yesterday, I believe, for the Bats. And I told Carrick, like, he can play outfield for the Reds right now. He's that good of an outfield. He could obviously he could play center field right now over Spencer Steer. That's not really a controversial thing.
And he probably hit better than TJ Friedel.
Yes, that's what I was saying too, is that he's probably better than TJ Friedel right now.
So the last time the Reds had the 18th overall pick, they drafted Cam Collier.
No, 2021, you said?
Or I'm sorry, it was 2022. I got that wrong.
Yeah, I thought it was 2022 because it was a big sell-off, and they couldn't sign guys and whatever. Yeah.
So the history at that pick, you have Cam Collier in 22, Jack Armstrong in 1986, and Jim O'Toole in 1958. Those are the three times they've had pick 18.
Okay. All right. Well, hopefully it's more Cam Collier than those other guys because I can't say I'm familiar with their game. So,
yeah.
But yeah, again, we'll break that all down and probably, talk about some guys that maybe we were surprised about, some scouting reports on some guys that we picked up later rounds and whatnot, sometime Saturday or Sunday. And until then, go Reds.
Go Reds.